everyone, I'm Charlotte.
And I'm Charlotte.
And welcome to another episode on
The Grounded Drift.
Though we're drifting in the waves,
We are grounded in our faith. So today we're going to talk about sharing our faith to those around us. So I want to ask, what are some of your fears when sharing your faith?
wow. For me, I feel like it's fear of judgment. Maybe oh, why is she sharing these kind of things with me? Is she such a good Christian person?
Right.
Yeah, or some of my friends, I feel like when I share my faith with them, they will be in their minds, they'll be oh, there she goes again, talking about these Christian kind of things.
Yeah.
Even though they don't show it out, but I feel like they feel this way.
Yeah. A lot of people will not misunderstand, but I guess they might have certain misconceptions or ideas already about Christianity. I mean, I can't blame them if they really did have bad experiences with maybe Christians before. Yeah. And for me, I'm really scared also of rejection from my friends. I'm someone that needs to have a group of people around me. I cannot be alone. I'm very scared of being alone. Yeah.
Do you think that other Christians also face similar fears, or do they have something else? Do they face something else?
I think they actually do have similar fears. In church, when we discussed it in our cell, from a lot of people's reactions and answers, I think rejection is the number one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard from some people also they're scared of losing their friends. Yeah, maybe you always share about your faith.
Yeah.
And then they'll be okay, you know what? I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Right,
Let's just cut.
Yeah.
Not be friends.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes if they don't, if they can't understand or whatever, then they will immediately zone out or they just wouldn't want to talk about it again. Sometimes I think the topic of Christianity is taboo, in my friend group. Every time it comes out, there's an awkward silence. Actually, right, does sharing my faith affect the relationships we have with other people?
Sharing your faith?
Our
sharing
faith.
Our faith. I guess so. Yeah, I think there's a good side and bad side. Yeah, good side is that when we share our faith with our friends, right, and if they're open to hearing, at least a seed is planted in their hearts. Yeah, but a bad side is maybe they'll be oh, I don't want to hear this anymore. And maybe they get their heart just turned very hardened, Yeah, what do you think?
I think it depends on how we share. Yeah, because sometimes if we come off as forceful or very aggressive, then of course they wouldn't want to listen, and then of course they will think that what I'm sharing is very bad, and they wouldn't want to associate with me anymore. Yeah, so I think creating an environment that allows me to share my faith with gentleness and respecting their opinions as well. I think that will help lah.
How would you share your faith with your non-Christian friends?
How would I share my faith?
Yeah, let's say I'm a non-Christian.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I think I will share my how God has changed my life first, because I feel more people can relate to maybe real life stories or examples or struggles that I face in this world lah. For example, maybe I tell you about my O-level journey. Yeah, and how I couldn't survive this whole O-level journey without His strength. Yeah.
I feel I'm slightly different from you because I came from a mission school, so they always talk about Christian things every single day. Yeah, so my friends, they know that I'm Christian, so sometimes they would come up to me and ask me about my faith. So I had this guy classmate, so we went home on the same MRT. Yeah, and then we just chit chat, and he asked me oh, so you're a Christian, right? I said yeah. He's can I ask you some questions about God and Christianity? I'm yeah, sure. Then he said, oh, what is the Holy Trinity? Blah, 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 blah. What happened at the Tower of Babel?
He knows
Blah, blah,
so
blah, blah.
much.
Yeah, he knows
That's
so much.
crazy.
And he reads the Bible actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was like, wow. Like, at that moment, I wasn't prepared to answer him. And I felt a bit like, I should be more prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about like sharing our faith with our friends, right? What about strangers?
Whoa, that's like another level actually. Like if I can't even share to my friends, how do I share to strangers? Yeah, but I mean church, there is that one aspect of something called street evangelism. Personally, I don't have that much experience, but I think do you do it before?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did twice. It was my first time. I didn't feel anything. I was like, oh, just go. Yeah, second time I went with your sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we made a good team. Yeah. So there was this girl that actually she approached us.
Whoa.
We didn't approach her because we're going around and
Yeah.
then we're doing like this mini game with people. And then she heard about it. So she walked up to us. She's like, hi, excuse me, I want to play. Yeah, so we played with her.
So cute.
Yeah, and she started to share about how she was suicidal, how she like had a lot of mental health issues.
Wow.
Yeah, and because of that, me and my sister and you, your sister and I,
Yeah.
we managed to share the gospel with her. Yeah, so it was quite encouraging, you know. Yeah.
I didn't like. If I were her, I wouldn't like open up so much to strangers. Yeah, I think that's probably the Holy Spirit. Yeah.
Would you ever want to try going on Street E?
I think I would like to try because strangers aren't people that I know, so it could be easier. But putting that aside, I think it's good to share my faith to not just my friends, but trying with everyone else as well.
Do you have friends come up to you and say like, hey, actually the other day I got approached by this Christian? Do you have?
Have. In my friend's Tele channel, right?
Oh.
She got put there, like, this Christian group just approached me. From her tone, maybe she felt a bit like hesitant or like maybe she didn't really like it lah. Yeah, so after that actually I was quite discouraged.
Yeah, I think I have a lot of friends who have been approached by Christians or maybe like cults.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so every time they get approached, they will come and ask me, hey, I got approached, and they will pass me whatever like pamphlet and things like that, and I'll tell them, oh, this is a cult. Okay, this is not a cult. Yeah, so and then I will explain to them like when you see certain words that the pamphlet has, then you have to know like this is maybe something maybe you shouldn't like listen to.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I think it's also a bit hard to share with them like that Christians do this kind of things. Yeah, because they have many like experiences that are not very pleasant also, like cults. Yeah. I've also been approached by people from cults and I get a bit annoyed.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
near my school some more that time when I was still studying.
Wow.
I wanted to like debate with the person but I was rushing. So I just went home and I gave her my number but I blocked her afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Very scary though. Yeah. So we shared, right, that our friends might have bad experiences with street evangelism, like those Christians who do street evangelism. How do you think we can explain it to them so that they won't be so like hesitant about it next time?
I think I'll ask them how they feel about it. Yeah, what they think about it. And I think a lot of people would say, oh, I feel like you just keep your faith to yourself. Like, don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. Yeah. And then maybe I'll explain to them, oh, so for Christians, it is written in the Bible to share our faith. Yeah, but the place of us coming, we share our faith not only is it because it's a command, but also because we want to share. Yeah, because Jesus has transformed our lives, and we really want to share it with others.
Like your 17 example in episode 1.
Oh yeah, correct. Oh, you remember?
Yeah.
And also I think like I can maybe also share perhaps some Christians, they have a good heart to want to share with you, but maybe it's the way that they say it, you know. Sometimes maybe it's not the right setting, or maybe like the choice of words that they use is not very respectful or loving, so that might kind of like push people away. So maybe I could like resonate with them and then explain to them. I think it will make them feel more like, oh, okay, I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
We've been talking about like fears so much now, and how do we address them?
How do we address these fears?
Yeah, because it can be quite hard
Yeah.
to overcome.
I think it's to ground ourselves with biblical truths. Yeah, so when I want to share with my friends, or when I go out to do street E, something I'll remember is this Bible verse. Let me go and search.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 2 Timothy chapter 1 verses 7 to 8. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. So do not be ashamed of the testimony of our Lord or of me, his prisoner. Rather, join with me in suffering for the gospel by the power of God. Yeah. So I guess when going out there to share our faith, right, of course we'll feel fear. Like what we shared just now, fear of judgment, fear of losing friends. Yeah. But I think for me, this verse reminds me that the fear that I'm facing doesn't come from God. Yeah, because God gave me a spirit of love, power, and self-discipline, right?
Yeah.
So with his power, we're able to go out there and do his work and build his kingdom. And we're like empowered by his spirit. Yeah. So I guess it makes me feel more assured and encourages me to be more courageous, to go out there and just do it. Nothing to be feared, nothing to be scared of. Yeah.
I think that's still a big step of faith though, because like you said, through biblical truths, right? I think right now my Bible knowledge is still very weak also. So I think finding a community is important also. Like when you do street evangelism, you don't do it alone, right?
Yeah, I never do it alone.
Yeah. It will help comfort me to know that I'm not alone in this fear, and I can have people I can depend on to look for advice. But of course, ultimately, I will also have to depend on God. God is so much bigger than my fears, and also God is the one that will work in people's hearts.
Yeah.
So if I fear, say, my friends will leave me, or like what if they think of me like very badly, or like they start to ostracize me, in the end that is not something I can control as well. And God is the one that is in control lah.
I think when you mentioned like God is in control, right? I think it reminded me that ultimately everything we do would glorify God. Yeah, when we share our faith and people come to know Christ, then God is glorified. And if we share our faith but our friends ostracize us or we get persecuted, eventually we know that God is also going to be glorified. So no matter what, God is going to be glorified.
And that's really all that matters. Actually, sometimes I feel like sometimes we also 自己吓自己. Like I keep on like overthinking that, oh, they're gonna ostracize me, they're gonna gossip about me. But actually sometimes it's just that they don't know, and maybe even sometimes they could be curious, like your friend on the MRT. And sometimes they can be quite receptive as well. So we can just try and take a tiny step.
Have you ever taken a tiny step of faith and your friends managed to be receptive? Or like, do you have any like success stories about sharing your faith?
Success stories I would say not really, like not very big ones, like they suddenly like realize their need for God. But I have brought people to church before. And I would say it was quite okay.
Really?
Yeah, like for example, like my church youth ministry, they have this event that they hold every year called Youth Day Out. And then I invited my friend to it, and it's at Siloso Beach, so it's like a carnival and stuff, so it's quite fun. So I was like, why not invite my friend? So my friend she used to go to church, but she quit like around primary 6. Yeah, so I invited her for this, and she was actually quite receptive to the worship and the word sharing after the carnival, you know.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and right now she's actually in my cell. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before she attended the Siloso Beach party, carnival,
party.
Was she a Christian?
No, she wasn't. Yeah, cause after she quit church, then like I remember she complained to me before that like her aunt her aunt remained a Christian lah. Her aunt keep on like talking about Christian things, then she like don't understand, or like she just couldn't. Yeah.
Wow. Yay. Praise the Lord.
Yeah. Do you have anyone also that success?
I don't think it's success, but I think it's planting seeds.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Just as important.
Yeah, so last Christmas, a mentor figure of mine, she encouraged my friend and I to give Christmas gifts to my class.
Oh.
So I was like, what? Like every single one.
The whole class?
The whole class.
Oh.
So because we already graduated from
Yeah.
JC and everyone's like overseas, some gonna enlist soon. So the only way that we could give those gifts is through mailing. And I was like, what? That means we have to ask for their address. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
20 plus people. So my friend and I were like, okay, let's just do it. So we decided to split up the work. She asked like one person. We asked one person from each friend group to collate like the address. And surprisingly, like every single person, they were willing to give us their address.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we also split out the work to write cards. So in our cards, we didn't say like, in our cards we shared about what Christmas meant to us and who Jesus is to us in this Christmas season. Like for example, Jesus is the greatest gift of all, and we hope to share this joy and hope that we have to you. So we wrote and then we mailed them out, and then they received it, and then they would text us afterwards, oh, thanks for the present, blah 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 blah. So we're trying to make it like a yearly tradition. Hopefully maybe one day they remember something we wrote in the card, or they remember this act that a Christian friend did for them, and maybe they might be receptive towards accepting Jesus.
That's great progress already.
Yeah.
When they texted you back, like were you like very surprised?
I was actually. Yeah. Some of my friends, they said this is the first time I've ever received a Christmas present.
That's so nice.
Yeah, because I think as Christians, like we grew up in church. A lot of us we grew up in church, and every time, Christmas, present.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so it's like a privilege to be able to receive presents, but some people, they don't celebrate.
Yeah, they don't celebrate.
Yeah, so I think it might mean a lot to them.
Okay, so we've actually shared our success stories and also our own rejection stories. So as you can tell, it's a journey and it's not an overnight thing that we are able to just overcome our fears like that and suddenly be very open to sharing our faith with everyone. I think what we can do to address our fears is to really depend on His word and depend on His community as well, so that we can have God to help us to overcome our fears and also have our friends to help us so that we won't go through this alone.
So thank you for watching this episode on The Grounded Drift.
Follow us on our socials linked in the description box below. Please feel free to comment, we'll read it.
I don't think you should say we'll read it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Thank you for watching this episode on The Grounded Drift.
Follow us on our socials for more updates. Please feel free to comment down below.
See you in the next episode. Bye!